This week in the boathouse, we'll see the first work on Arabella for 2021. And we'll get it started with a much cleaner shop, thanks to Aaron here, who's been spending the last while hauling out the wood shavings. And another bit of housekeeping, we don't usually ask, but we would love to grow the channel more this year, and we could use your help. If you're watching the show and haven't yet subscribed, you should. And then click the bell next to that subscribe button to get notified when a new video is ready to watch. Today, Steve will finish up the lodging knees and hand them off to Alix to install while he takes a bit of holiday R&R with Robin. At the end of this week's episode, you can see a few highlights from that trip, so stay tuned.
I'm going to put a 25-inch bolt here, and that'll go through this knee, through the double up deck beam, through the blocking, through the hanging knee, through the double up deck beam, and through the tip of this lodging knee here. It'll lock all of that together, which butts up against that assembly. And then to be able to drill all the way through, I'm going to have to eventually take this block out. And when I take that block out, I'm going to drill shorter bolts through here, through the deck beam, the blocking, the hanging knee, and the deck beam. And that'll get counterbored so that the nuts on either end of it land just inside of the timbers. And then these two knees will butt up against it. And what this inner bolt is going to do is it's going to keep that knee from being able to pivot this way. So all I'm really concerned about is catching the deck beams in that knee. Where these ones out here, it's going to help keep that knee from pivoting this way, but this one is also going to help with the lodging knees from going this way. So I think everything looks good. I've adjusted the knee down below a couple times, given everything a really good look over. It's clamped down nice and tight. This is the last chance to make any adjustments, so let's see what we can do here. Pup? Are you having a good rainy Christmas so far? So I'll move over to the other side, do the exact same thing, get everything clamped up, draw my lines, drill my holes, counterbore, pop the pieces out. And then once those are all done, I can take this beam out, take these blocks out, and I can finish drilling that last little bit through those. So far so good. One down, 3 to go. Well, stern's all drilled. That went well. Now I've just got the two to do in the stem, which are smaller assemblies. Should be a little bit easier. I gotta bolt in the knees here for the mainmast. And the hanging knee is right here. And I wanna make sure that I get 2 bolts through the hanging knee to keep that from doing this. And then I need at least 1 bolt that goes through everything and locks these lodging knees in to keep it from doing this. Now, here's my issue. This is the longest 3/8 inch drill bit that we have. So as you can see, can't make it through in one shot. And I can't come in from the side here because the rest of this deck structure is in the way. And I got to drill through the knee with it in place there. So it's not like I can just take this assembly out and easily drill it on the bench. It really should be here for when I come through the knee. So I think the solution, and it's going to be a little bit of a pain, is to pull out the assembly here for the forehatch, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts. Not really that big of a deal. And just slide that up forward. And then I can come in and bury this 3/8 bit somewhere like that. And then I will use this really long, skinnier twist bit to finish up the difference and to come out through this side of the deck beam. And then once that's all drilled, I'll have to take out this assembly too, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more bolts. And then I can use the auger will follow this hole really well. And I'll drill back this way and make the 3/8 meet. So we're going to have 1 bolt that goes from here to here, and it's going to lock in all of the knees and the deck beams together and keep it from racking. And then the bolt that goes through and keeps everything racking is also going to be one of the bolts for the hanging knee. It's going to help keep it from pivoting. And then this one, we don't really have a good way to, once we unbolt all of this and take this apart, to get a bolt just through here. So I'm going to put a pin. It goes from here, and it's going to go a little ways into this blocking here. And we'll put this assembly in like this. We'll come in from the bottom here. We'll drive that pin in. It'll get flush here. It'll bottom out inside the locust blocking. And we'll put the other blocking in here. You'll never see the ends of the pin, and the locust on either end will keep the pin from going anywhere, and will keep the knee from doing any funky business. Wow, 2020 threw me another curveball. So I was supposed to leave this morning to head up to Baxter State Park in Maine and go do some winter mountaineering. But a little birdie who's up at Baxter told me that there is no snow. So they got the same really warm and rain that we got, and everything is washed out. So the thought of walking in 16 miles on a icy, rocky trail to go have no snow and ice in the gullies is not very appealing. So we're going to switch gears, and we're going to go do a little bit of a canoe expedition and go canoeing for 5 days or so. And it's not quite the mountain adventure we were looking for, but it'll be a lot of fun. And it's kind of really the only good option we got, with there being no snow and no ice in the mountains. So I can't believe we're going to go do a paddle trip in the end of December, beginning of January, but these are the years that we live in, apparently. So last night was spent in a flurry of activity, switching out from ice axes and crampons and climbing ropes to paddles and dry bags and all of that jazz. So I didn't get quite as much done as I wanted, but as you can see, the knees are all varnished and they are ready to go in. We're just not going to have quite enough time to put them in before I take off. But I've been looking through the boat with Alix. We've been talking about how they go in, what order they need to go in, what the fasteners for them all are. So I'm going to leave him with that task. And while I'm gone paddling, he's going to get all these beauties installed. You can see one sitting in the boat right there behind me. I'm ecstatic with how these came out. They were a ton of work, and it's kind of hard to believe that this is the result of a giant oak stump, but it is. And it held up that oak tree for like 100 years, so hopefully it'll hold Arabella together for another 100. So I'm going to leave Alix to putting these beauties in the boat, and I'm going to go get my gear together, throw the canoe on the roof, and get out of here, and I'll be back before you know it.
Alright, so Steve got all those knees done, and they look amazing. So now it's my task to put them into the boat, and I need to make up some bolts for those so that I can install them in place. But before I can do that, there is one more thing that I have to do. There are 2 holes that Steve didn't quite finish up. The distance for them was a little longer than any of the bits that we have, so I am going to pull a little trick out of Steve's tool bag and weld on this bit onto this little piece of rod. It doesn't need to be super strong. There's only about like 2 or 3 inches that need to be drilled, but we just can't quite get to it with the sizes that we have right now. And waiting on a bit doesn't really make much sense right now. So I just filed down the ends of these so that they'll mate up pretty nice. I'm gonna wrap that tape around here so that I can line them up, and I am going to give my hand at welding those 2 together so I can get back to work. Rod's already a little bent, but like I said, we don't need anything terribly accurate. This just needs to be close. Pretty good. Just gotta smack off that slag and grind down the extra, and that should be well enough for what we need. Give it a shot. Let's see how this goes. So far, so good. Looks like we did it. All right, let's do the other side. start assembling this jigsaw puzzle. All of these need to go in a certain way so that the bolts can go in so that they fit properly. So I have all the bolts made. I cut all the rod to length and threaded the ends. So I'm gonna try to put these things together. There's a couple funky things. Right in here we had to figure out how to put in a drift, which is gonna be super cool. So let's get to that. I'm excited to start putting things together. Alright, so this drift is going to come in through here. There's a little hole that comes up, and it comes up at an angle, locks in this corner, and then registers in here. And once that is in, the other blocking is going to go in right here to keep it from coming out. So hopefully this is cut to length properly, and if not, I'm going to have to shave that down a little bit. And we'll see how that goes. Go. I know that goes. All right, here we are. So it's a little tight in here. We have already some fasteners in here that are holding these two beams together. And then this block needs to fit in here, which has recesses for the fasteners that we have through here, which was for this knee. Obviously we have this block in the way. The knee fits right here. There's a filler right here, and then this is connected to the space that is going to be the cockpit. Now, my issue is that we have a bolt that is supposed to just be for right here, which means that I have to put this in before I put this block in. However, this block has to nestle up against these fasteners before I can settle this down. So the only option I have right now is to unbolt this, unbolt these, and then somehow move this into this block that is going to fit right here. So that is what I'm gonna have to work on now. So I'm gonna have to mark a cut here so that this can actually slide this way. And then I'm gonna have to unbolt these, unscrew the ends here, take these little carlins out, unbolt them back there so that this beam can be free to move as well. And then this whole unit is gonna have to move as a whole towards that. It's gonna be a little bit of work, a little puzzle. Okay, so that didn't work out either. I thought this might happen, but I was kind of hoping that I would be able to shimmy and shake things and be able to go through. But as this is a tapered stern, I can't move this whole assembly that way because everything locks up. I thought I might be able to shake and move things, but that is not the case. So let's look in a little bit more detail and see what's going on here and what I need to do. So I need to have a bolt going through these two deck beams and through the whole assembly in the middle. And this bolt here only goes between these two, which means there's a nut locked in here and a nut locked in here, which means I can't access those once something is in on this side. Now the issue with that means that I can't place something once this is in first, or I can't even hold on to the nut here to tighten everything. Now why does this piece here need to go in before everything else? Why can't I just slide it in? Well, that's because of this knee back here. So the knee that is over here, you can see the rivets for it are right here, and they're not flush with the wood, which means I can't drop this in. There needs to be recesses. And it wouldn't have made a difference if we had put this knee on afterwards, because we wouldn't have been able to rivet them. We would have had to have super long bolts. It would have been just as challenging, maybe a little bit less challenging, but still, we are where we are. So what I think I need to do is find a way to get this nut to stay in this hole and not move, so that I can then place a bolt from this direction with everything in place. That side is already assembled, so if I can put everything in place over there, move it in, move this in, have this nut stay here solidly, and then I can place the last bolt in this way and tighten it from this direction. We should be good. So what I think I'm going to do is weld on some wings off to the side of this, chisel them out of the side of the hole here, and make it so it sits perfectly lined up with the hole and can't turn. And then once that's in place, that'll be locked in. We'll put this stuff in place, and that should be able to finish the assembly. I'm not going to show you guys all what I made, because it is possibly the ugliest thing I've ever made in my life, but it holds. The welds are good. This definitely fits on. These little guys will hold them to the side, and we'll be able to thread on there and lock in into the deck beam so that I can come in from the other side. So I'm gonna chisel out some notches for this thing, and I'm gonna thread a rod into it so that it can register properly, and then we'll put the rest of the assembly together, see what happens. Camera got a little dark, losing a little daylight here. Let's see if I can finish this before it goes completely dark. Then I can go home and see Kira, and we're gonna celebrate the new year. If Arabella is ever in a rough spot down the road and needs to be rebuilt by anyone, they're gonna have quite the surprises. I got him in. So it's late. It's about 6:30 tonight. I've been going since this morning, but everything is in. Not without its challenges, but it seems par for the course for 2020. So it was quite the adventure, but everything is in. The knees look fantastic. A friend of mine posted something the other day that I thought was really, really great. Somebody had, I think, tweeted this, but regardless of where it comes from, it definitely rang true. They said something along the lines of, 2020 hasn't been a terrible year. What's been terrible is how people have been treating each other and how we've been taking things. And I think your outlook on life is really what's the most important thing. So I think moving forward into 2021, I'd like for us all to change our outlook, myself included. I was really frustrated yesterday trying to put this stuff together, and I decided to take the evening and go home and relax and think about it. And I feel much more ready to tackle things right now, and I think that's how we need to go into the new year. So I hope you are all having a very merry new year, since by the time you see this, it will be 2021, and I am wishing the best to all of you.
ground out on the bar and then smash into the rocks.
Yep. Hey, drop.
Whoop. Okay, so this is where we're gonna be careful and lean upstream
Okay.
until we get off it.
Okay.
Alright, blow a Yui here. Alright, back pedal. Deeper.
Okay.
Give me a forward pedal. Nice Yui. Alright, back on track.
Nailed it, babe.
When we cleaned the stumps for Arabella's knees, I wish we could have gotten them to look like this. Look how clean that is. I really wish we could have like hucked them into a raging river with a chain on them or something and just let them tumble and beat around for a while. Because these are so nice and clean. But even with that, look, we've got some ingrown metal here in the root. Same thing here. That's a big piece of steel that's grown into the roots. So even when you do get them really clean, there's still dirt and stuff in there. The joys of busting up roots. Oh, look at this. It's like an old bed spring. I don't know if you can see that, but there's an old bed spring here. It's grown right into the roots. Fun stuff. All right, you ready to break some ice?
Do it.
Next week, Steve and Alix will be in the boathouse together. Steve moves all the way back to the stern by the engine to get the last and largest of the hanging knees made. And Alix will fare out the deck structure. So take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you again next week.